Hello everyone. In this video, I will try to explain and to show the charting capabilities of the application. But before doing that, I would like to show an example of how this display of 12 result sets can be useful. If you remember, SQL Server Management Studio has a lot of reports that you can display, you can load, but unfortunately you cannot easily copy the data from those reports. So I put all those reports, I took the queries and I put them in a single query that will generate those 12 result sets, and this is the output. Having the data in this format, I believe it's easier to just see the information and maybe to copy it also. Not to mention that you can search among this result set. So this is an example of how this 12 result set can be used to display more information meaningful. Going back to the charting capabilities, in order to display the charting capabilities of the tool, we have to run some queries. And we have three places from where we can chart. We can use this charting here, which allow us to chart multiple result sets in a multiple chart. We can chart here. We can chart here, and this allows us to chart only a single result set. So for for every result set that we retrieve from SQL Server, we can chart here only that result set. You'll see the benefits of each, and we have also a dashboard that we can use, and that is charting queries that we already saved in the repository. If we go here to dashboards, and if I choose the query already solved, hard-coded in the application, for example, on this instance, I will go and I would like to see the dashboard overview. Dashboard overview is this type of queries. Let's search after it. So dashboard overview, I took some queries and I put them and let's execute it to see the charting capability. So we have some queries that we save it and we submit those queries to SQL Server, and we want to chart that data. Refresh. So this is the charting data, and if we want to look to see the query that was executed, we see that this is the query that was executed. And if we want to change the chart, we can try to change the chart. Some of the charts, depending on the data that we try to display, some of the charts will look nice, some of the charts will not look nice because those are meaningful for a specific set of data. But let's change and let's make this chart like this. We see 2022, 2023 backup size. For example, let's display information about successful backups. Here we have job, SQL Server and job successful 24 and 10 were failed. Let's display this as cluster column chart. As cluster column chart, we have job successful failed, so we have 24 successful, and we have 10, 11, 12 failed. And we have 10 failed. Okay, so this is the charting capabilities as dashboards, because maybe you want to display data. Okay, we go. Let's go back and let's choose the charting capabilities for a single result set. So let's suppose that we want to chart the information we have in this result set. We'll choose charting here, and let's suppose that we want to chart CPU time. Okay, we'll add CPU time as values, and we'll add speed as axis. We can add speed. Let's see how. Program name. Let's add the program name. So we see that we have DIMS, we have a blank, which is 44, we have DIMS 2, and we have net SQL Server Profiler. Let's change the chart to a stacked bar chart. We have DIMS 2, we have no program name blank. Let's display it as stacked column chart. We have it as stacked column chart, and let's display it at cluster bar chart and as cluster column chart. Let's suppose that we want to see the CPU time, but also the disk input time for this for the program name. So we'll check this disk EO, and let's put the values. We'll choose sum, and we'll choose sum also here. So this is the values 3102 for sum of this key O, sum of this key O for DIMS. Okay, let's do some charting for this result set, which is let's say the table which contains all the SQL Server instances that we manage, and we have more information about them, and we want to chart that information. For example, let's chart, and let's say that we want to see the number of instances. So count of server name in each domain. So we see here we have this number of server names in each domain, and let's suppose that we want also to chart not only the server name in each domain, but we want to see to chart them based on the creation date. Let's suppose that we have a creation date for each server. So date created. Let's suppose that we want to see when these servers were created. So let's chart it. Let's drag and drop it here. And let's see when those servers were created. And like Power BI has, you can choose like a date hierarchy, like a year, month, and so on. So let's suppose that we want to do the same, and let's choose date hierarchy. And this is a little bit out of chart, because I need to take in consideration the number, and the number is taken, as you can see, count of server name is 363 105, but the y-axis was not changed. That's why I have these bars out of chart. So I need to go and work to this. But if I use the scroll feature, if I will scroll this, then I will recalculate, recompute the y-axis, and the chart will go back to normal. Let's scroll a little bit. 473, 55, 55. I need to go back here, and as you can see, I need also to center these labels more appropriately. Since I did some modification for this chart, let's see how this chart looks like if we are trying to use the charting capabilities for multiple result sets. So let's go back here and let's choose the charting capability, and we want for this and we said that we'll choose server name for y-axis. So server name, this, okay, continue, okay, and let's choose date, time created, date created, and the chart type. We'll go to results, and here the chart type that we want is cluster column chart. Let's go here and choose cluster column chart, and the date hierarchy, it will be year. It's it's computing the information, so let's wait for this to finish. Okay, count of server name, cluster column chart. Okay, date hierarchy, it's still okay. Let's increase the chart because it points to the same code. I just copied the code from one place to another. It display it like this. Okay, let's scroll down to see also here. Scroll down to see the data for 2017, 2018, and so on. You see here, I need also to look to the whenever I'm creating this x-axis, if it's numeric. If it's numeric, I'm just splitting it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's why we have this number at the end of it. So I need to look into this. But I'm glad that I showed this because this will give me the opportunity to handle this this scenario also. Okay, let me increase this to full screen. And let's choose because this year is a string. Let's choose as axis the number of cores, number of CPUs. So let me change this to number of cores. Okay, now because we have a number of cores, and you see now for this type of input, the y-axis, the count of server name, was computed correctly, hence the graph looks as it should be. We'll go back to this date created column, but for the time being, let's continue with this. Let's go back to this charting capability and use here the number of CPUs this time as x-axis. Okay, number of CPUs. So let's suppose that we want to see how many servers with 16 CPUs we have, and so on. So if you want to display it, and we want also count of server count of server names. Okay, number, and let's suppose that we want to see also count of server name, number of CPUs, we have, number of CPUs, number of cores, and the max DOP. Let's choose another column, region ID, port number, max DOP. I don't see something, but let's go back here, choose a different type of graph for this. And let's suppose that for this result set we want to display the edition, the number of servers we have for each editions, service pack information, and so on. So let's add edition, environment name, environment. Let's add environment name. Okay, let's use environment name as axis, development, acceptance, production. Let's choose, there is no row at position, count of server name. Okay, I don't understand why we don't receive this information, so why we don't have a result set here. A number of CPU, so let me remove all these columns to have a clean state. Count of server name. I will just try to start with a clean state, and let me count server name. Count server name. Server name. I will drag and drop it to values. There is no row at position. Cannot find column -1. There is something line and stacked. Let me really start with a clean state by just retrieving the result set again. Repository, repository, server repository, execute. Okay, going back here. As I said, in the future this refresh button will be used to re-execute the query and overwrite the current result set that we have here, for example, but it was not implemented yet. Let's go to the chart. Now we should have a clean state. Let's choose again server name, and we said that we want to go and use as y as x-axis. We'll use environment name. Okay, let's suppose that we want to use the funnel chart to see in percentage which one is the biggest, and after that in percentage acceptance it seems it's 57% from the number of production and so on. Let's choose a different type of chart, which is a stacked bar chart. Count of server name. We can try to add edition also here, count of edition, and as you can see it's like this. And let's make it like a cluster bar chart. But this is let's do this type of chart for CPU. Let's go back here. We already see it here. It's okay, and I want to show you also when the axis for x axis is like numeric. That's why I'm trying to use this this result set. Okay, count of edition, count of server name. Let's choose, okay, port number. We have some port numbers. Let's choose port number. Let's see how many servers are using a specific port number. So I will choose as axis dynamic port number. It seems the column is not nice populated, but not the dynamic port number. I want to use the port number. port number column, this one. So let's use this one. And here we can see the port number that we are using for our SQL Server instances across our estate. So we can have it charted like this. Okay, let's use the charting capability that Power BI has when you want to group by multiple columns. So we said about domain environment. So let's close this. Let's close this. We said environment name, development acceptance, and let's choose to group it also by domain. So we'll group by domain also, and here we'll go like a group by next column. I made these stairs here in order to show that it goes down, so it grows by environment name, and after that if you click once it will group by domain. So let's click on it. Okay, it seems this one is not working, but before, when I did the test, it worked. So I have domain, I have environment name. I will choose a different column than environment name. Let me try again to see if it's working. Okay, it's not working. So I will choose domain and edition as I will remove, and I will choose edition to be on the second column that we will group by. So let me, cannot find column 0. Now I don't want to go to the code to see where is the issue. Backup product. Let me use as backup product. Domain and backup product. Okay. Backup product. Group by next column. Since this is not working with this, I will choose another result set to see if I can provide that functionality. Chart. I want to chart this one. DIMS server email, get config changes history. Okay, I didn't want to take this one. CPU. Okay, and program name. And let's see that I want to see the command, each program, the status of each command. Okay, so let's suppose that I will go to stacked column chart, and I will choose to group by next column. Cannot find column 0. Cannot find column 0. Cannot find column 0, maybe because I have blank here. Okay, let me remove this column and let me choose status. Okay, status and command. Okay, status and command, sum of CPU, sum of this here. We'll choose count to have some data displayed. We'll choose count. Okay, and let me go and group by next column. Cannot find column 0. Cannot find column 0. Okay. Group by next column. I will just go to the code. I'm curious now. A single chart ribbon 9172 9172 9172 current canvas tab count 3 chart, more options, AAB, AAC, AAD. I see, because I have this one. Okay, in this case, let me go back here. Let me go to the code, continue. Let me go to multiple charts, and we said that we want to chart the CPU. We want to chart the CPU, and we said the CPU time, we want CPU time, we want the disk queue time, and we want to use status and status and command. So command and status, and let's group by next column. Okay, so this is working. One note here. So everything, this charting, the first time I added the charting capability to the application was this control here, and after that I just took pieces of code written for this control here, and I create another control to do the charting here. most probably I didn't do all the modification required in order for that charting capability to work only for a single result set for this one. Let me go back here, because what I wanted to show is how Power BI groups by multiple columns. So I wanted to show that also. So we have it grouped by command and status. Okay. And if we want to go back and to be grouped only by status, only by command, we'll just go up. Okay. It's curious that the charting capability here, it's not working, because I thought I did all the modifications, but it seems not. So let me go here. Cannot find column 0. Okay. And group by next column, I want to check if it should be still be enabled, and it was line 71. TBM call function canvases result set. This is this is point because this points to a table, should point to something else. So because of this, let's stop here. And let's modify for this control result sets and tables filter current previous. Name filter control F, charting so filter chart current previous. Okay, control C. Okay, going back 9702 like a DIMS charts DG auto generated column. Okay, and here Control V, filter charting current columns 0 returns the table. Okay, tables current 0. Let me put this here also. Tables result sets, Control C. Okay, where I have can indexes, current can. Okay, save. Let's try to execute the application again. We'll run the same CPU script, and we'll try to group by multiple columns. I already mentioned, I'm showing also a little bit of code because I already mentioned that this was not written by a developer, by a real developer, so it was just written by me, and I'm not using as let's say I written in a way in which a person which is not a programmer can learn the code and what the code does and how it does it very easy. So I wrote it in a way that will help me go back and forward without having a lot of knowledge about programming and so on. But let's go back. CPU. Who execute, going back here, chart, and we said that we want to chart CPU time and disk input output time based on status on the command and status okay, and this is on the command and status. Let's say that we want to go down, group by next column. Okay, it seems it's working as it should because in order to move the functionality from charting to this chart control, I couldn't use the same result set, so I had to create a different property of the object, a different property of the object in which I put the table. So, but as I said, throughout the code, there are some things which requires further modification in order to point to the right objects. So, okay, this is it. What I want to show about this charting. Yes, maybe also I created this overlapping chart because I wanted to see the jobs which are overlapping in the GUI also. So if we search after a script that it's supposed to return the job history information, history get CPU job info for display. Yes, this is the script. As you can see, I'm using because I don't have on this virtual machine like jobs which I'm executing constantly in order to create this metadata. So I just copy it and paste it from somewhere else. Okay, just for the I will retrieve this data, but let's suppose that you retrieve, you execute the script against an instance which retrieve the job information for your instance, and you want to see the overlapping of the jobs because maybe you want to show to other colleagues or to people that the server is overloading and the jobs are taking too much time because they overlap each other and the SQL Server has a lot of things to do. So, and you want to display that graphically. So for this, I created this type of chart, overlapping, and in order to work, you need to put the duration in second as values. So duration in second as values, the date time start date will be as axis. You'll just click it, and will be as axis, and as legend, you'll put a step name. And if you'll click on the overlapping, string was not recognized as a valid that date time. So maybe this is not actually the script 2022-008. So let me search for the real script. Start date, duration, but the script. Let's go back to results. Start date, PM, date time. Okay, I'm going back to the script, going back to the chart. Okay, start date. Most probably what is happening behind the variable that I'm using to set the date time column as date hierarchy, but this is a new result set, so it shouldn't be this. Okay, let's choose let's delete this and let's edit it again. Start date, those 08. Okay, let's remove the legend. Count of run duration. Yes, because I need to use the sum. Okay. As I said, this chart requires the values to be added, and after that, because I'm not charting the count. Okay, let's go back. We have the start date, we have the run duration. By default, when you click it, it shows the count, but let me switch it to the real value that we have for that one in seconds. Okay, and let's go back and put here step name for the legend. I don't understand it's recognized like this. Let's use the charting functionality for overlapping here in the charting for multiple instances. I will use charting, and I will do the same. So I will choose run duration as seconds. I will choose start date. Now the start date is displayed, but also that one was displayed correctly. So let me choose overlapping, and let's use the step name. Let me put the step name as a legend. Okay, the start date was not modified, and let's increase the chart to see information more meaningful. The date here is not properly displayed, should be here, so I need to do modification, but let's change here, because you see the count of run duration is actually 1 second, which is why the data is not displayed correctly, because we need to have the values in seconds here. So let's choose the sum in order to have the values in seconds, and let's say that we want to scroll and to see how they overlap each other. So we can see that index optimize is overlapping also with the database full, and also integrity check is overlapping with the full. And you can see it like here. Here it was also because I didn't know if, so I had to choose if I want to display jobs, steps which are starting right before my chart will finish. So I should have chosen to make this line, this polyline, to be as long as only here, but this wouldn't be accurate, let's say, or I would have chosen to not display it at all. But I have chosen to display it even if it's outside of the chart, to just have the summary. So going back to the going back to our chart, it should work also here, but the order in which these columns are added is important, because if I'm adding a legend, it seems that I'm changing the first column data, not data type, how the first column is displayed. So let's go back here and let's remove this. And as I said also before, I need for some charts, or to make the transition from one chart to another based on the columns which are visible here, the columns which are selected, this requires more work in order to not give the end user what you see. But let me go back from scratch here. So we run the script that we retrieve the job history information, and I want to chart it. So we'll do the same. We'll choose run duration second, 410, 410. Okay, the chart behaves as it should, till this point. We'll choose start date as axis. Okay, and now we will not drag and drop the step name as legend. We'll first select the chart and we'll put the step name here. Start date, step name. Okay. Axis is the same. I have start date, step name, start date, step name. Why is not working as it should? Start date, axis. Light hierarchy. Okay. Yeah, that's why it put it as here because I choose date hierarchy and it tried. So let me choose start date as date. Don't do any modification. Let's remove it from scratch. Okay, let's add it again. Run duration seconds. Start date. String was not recognized. Let's do end date. It seems I have a global variable which points and already join these columns together. Join these columns together. So group by next column, and date start date. Let me run the script again. Let me chart it again. Run duration second. Okay. Start date. String was not recognized as a valid date time. String was not recognized as a valid. In which parts of the code is going? That show me. 14923, 14923, 14923. Difference, convert, minus convert. convert to detail rows. Okay. First row, make y add values for overlapping. For overlapping. Okay, continue. Okay, the input table that comes 410, close, continue. Okay, let's add start date, the input table that comes. It already comes with this start date. Let's see calc values, void calc values x-axis, overlapping for m to the for each chart type. I need to check the value of 4 since it is 0, then I need to put data specific interval, otherwise. Okay, overlapping contains. Okay, let's go back here and continue. We don't need this anymore, and let's add date start time contains. If date time, the input table already came here in a wrong format. Calc values x-axis, void make xy, delete, void make xy, matrix, set initial chart values, calc values. Let me see the input table. Okay, continue. Okay, selecting charting, delete this column, continue. Let's add the date time. Okay, data table, start date already comes in this format. Okay, make x y chart type, keep canvas slider. Okay, void populate chart. I will just reload the application. I don't really want to show all the code. The point of this video was not to show the code and how I'm trying to solve the bugs. The point of this video was to show the charting capabilities, which I believe I show, even if some of the charts requires more work for the default state and for the transition from one chart to another. So let me jobs for display, execute, increase the application, going back here, charting, and I have run duration second. Okay, start date as data in column. Okay, it is in good format, and let me choose the overlapping. Okay, it has a normal behavior, and let me start dragging step name as legend. Okay, so it looks better, and now let's choose the duration in seconds, the actual value of the duration in seconds, which is sum. Okay, so it looks much better, and Now we have also the dates. So as you can see, whenever I'm scrolling down, the dates are changing, but when you display the entire result set, then it will calculate and it will show the data from the first date to the last date, and the data should be displayed from here till end here. But I need to see why it's not displayed properly, and it's just displayed here. Most probably I'm not increasing the value from this point to the next one in order to be displayed properly. But anyway, this is the overlapping chart, the overlapping chart feature. As you can see here, we have the duration and how they overlapping each other. Of course, this require maybe more work, more tests and so on, but I wanted to have it, and I did it. Okay, this is the charting capability, and I want to go to repository again, server repository, execute it. Okay, and I want to chart it, and we'll use again this date time hierarchy, because date time hierarchy is very important if you have the data, but actually you want to aggregate it based by year, quarterly, month, exactly like Power BI does. So I want to see again why it's not behaving, or why it's not working as it should. So we'll choose server name, as the column for the values, and we want to use the date created as x-axis. So date created. Of course, this should work for not for overlapping, because it's not the overlapping chart that we want to see. We want to see the line chart. Okay, so this is the line chart, and we said that we want to choose it date hierarchy. It goes back, it goes up to the up to the sky, and I have 2011, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, and this is because you see this 2, 4, 6 here. I will show you why you see it, but okay, it's only 10. The y-axis was not computed properly for this one. Let me scroll 2000, still 10, 55, but we have 473 for the axis. Okay, of data type, whenever I choose this data type 2020, let's choose a different type of chart, this stacked column chart. Okay. Okay, 473 and 55, 55 calc values for x-axis. We'll go back to the code. We are in the single chart, calc values x-axis, overlapping is not overlapping type, it is daytime, is not the daytime, is not the daytime, is not the daytime. And let's see, it will reach this branch of code because it's not the daytime, is not overlapping. So let's choose it date created, and count of server name, let's put count distinct. Okay, only to see the code. Okay, the table is this one. Have this table. Okay. Data rows increment. So increment, we have increment, and we'll go for calculate values for y-axis. Y-axis, calculate values for y-axis, void, and switch chart type we have, and this is stacked. Okay, stack bar chart. Let's leave the code to run. Continue, and next, index. Okay, value set that, and okay, for m values default, but I want to see the vy max value. Continue. The vy max value that we calculate is 55 if my mic and max value. Max value. If chart type, if stacked column chart and percent stack column max value, else max value close and round chart type vy max value. Let's see where our chart it fits. Continue. Okay, date created, count distinct, count, switch, calculate various y-axis. Let's see our chart type. Stacked column chart. Stacked column chart is not here, is not here, is not here, is not here, is not here. So it will go to the default and continue. Min max value, min value. Okay, stacked column chart is here. If stacked column chart, min value, stacked column chart, our case, max value, close and round, data table, close around the data table. Okay, step into else, step into next, next, if that okay, max value plus viitor rows cam mai mare ca 0, the columns count. Okay, values index 1, max value, compute min max, compute min max, compute min max, min max. Step into compute min max, compute for min max. Okay, the values column count of server name, count of server name. Okay, column for min max, columns data type to string. Okay, let's see, our column was identified as string, as string. Do we have numbers in there? It was not identified as numeric, as datetime, as date, and so on. So it was go to as in this part of code char text no, min max, compute for min max. So min is what it was identified 105, 105, 105, because it it was not recognized as numeric, and it is like string. It's 1 because we have 2, we have 5, we have 2, 4, we have 1, and so on. So that's why. And the max was identified 55. So actually this is because here it didn't go to datetime offset to kind of decimal or numeric. So this needs to be changed. This needs to be changed. So compute min max for columns, count of server name, count of server name, and count of server name is numeric, should be numeric. DT values, count of server name, columns, list, here count of server name, system string, shouldn't be string when I'm executing the column there for aggregation year. So let's search year, DT switch interval DT final columns, it's types of integer. So I have type of integer. For the time being, let's continue. I will stop it. So they created a hierarchy here, the final type of integer. So here I have integer, needs to be recalculated. Here type of integer needs, we need the column used for point of function. Okay, and might so let's see if our will reach this type of code. So we are going back here, date created, we'll choose to date created, not the date hierarchy. Going back. Okay, I don't want this, continue. I don't want this because it behaves as it should. Okay, we'll choose hierarchy. Okay, and here I want to add as key count 0, first key, server name server name, okay, 0, and value count. What let me see, dt final count of server. So here it was already created, type of integer, count of, I'm contain count of, then columns, count of server, so type of integer, so it was declared as type of integer, else so aggregate column. It looks like it run into this branch of code, so let me see why. We'll just continue here. Let's go back to let's go back to date created. Let's go back to date hierarchy. Okay, so our dt final contains, the table contains year, okay, year, and it's of type integer, which is okay, and if aggregate first value column, okay, count, this is the issue, count of, I'm searching after count of, so this is the bug, count contains count, not count of, so let's go back here, count, uppercase count, so we know what we have to modify, so we need to remove this here, we need to remove this here, because I'm not, okay, count, and as I already mentioned, because I copied methods, I'm not happy with this, but I don't have a programmer mindset, so I need to modify this method also in the charts control, so let's modify it, the group by datetime interval, we go to the charts control, control F, control V, group by datetime interval, and here let's delete this, let's save all, save, okay, and let's run again, and let's run. We need all the column that is in the function at the column that will contain the aggregation of, okay, something else there. Let's run this, and now we should obtain a chart which will be properly displayed because as you can see in the code, it was the column data type was string, and because of the data type being string, the min max value were wrong, hence the bars and everything related was not working as it should. So let's go back, cancel here, let's run again the repository to retrieve the data for repository script, because we want to see how many servers were installed in 2012, how many servers were installed in 2020, and so on. So we'll execute the script again. Repository, server repository, okay, Going back to the script here, we're going back to the chart, charting option, and here we said that we want to get the count of server name for the date created, group by date created. And we want to use the date hierarchy. We don't want this anymore to go. We don't want this anymore to see. Continue. Okay, we didn't fix this. We'll try to see if we'll fix it now. But now the chart looks like appropriately. We have 400, almost 80 instances which were created, let's say 2008. Would be 2018, but if this chart is not let's say very clear, because it tried to chart the base span on the entire period, we can always change the chart type, and we can scroll in order to chart based on the rows we have, on the selection of the rows, not on the entire result set, but only on a subset of the result set. So if I will scroll, you see now it just display specific rows. So for 2014 we have 7, and 2019 we have 473, 2018, and so on. Okay, the chart should behave properly also here, because we did the modification also here, but just for double check to see. And I need, okay, I will just service name we'll put, not service name, but we'll leave service name, because it's a count, it's still good. And date created, and we'll choose date hierarchy. Okay, we'll try this. We have this, and we'll choose this type of chart. But we'll scroll to have it properly displayed for okay. And let's increase this to see it like this. And the benefit of having chart here is because we can create another chart. Let's create another chart, and this jump to the previous initial size of the chart. So there is something that I need to do here, but I'm not bothered by it, because I can do it. So let's put here the same. We want to chart this information. For example, we want to see the counter of the server name that we have in each domain. So I will just choose this server name, continue, and group by domain name. Okay, I will increase this, okay, and I will go back to this chart, and I will just increase this chart also. Okay, and it go back to result. So I have all the information for all the years. If I want to scroll, if I will scroll, let's see, I'll scroll like this. Okay, I display the information information like this, and this one still displays the information for the entire result result set, because this is if we click here we see the information like that. Okay, so this is the benefit, because you can display more information here to make the point that you want to make with the values that you wanted. Now going back to this chart, and let's scroll up to display the entire result set. We see here 2011, 2013, 2015, 2017, 2019, 2022. And we have this one. Let's see when I'm creating the add. So add values, Control F, add for numeric, not in charts. I'll do it here also, but let's go to single chart, numeric data type, Control F, numeric data type, numeric, add x for numeric data type for numeric data type for numeric for datetime calc values, make void make x for line chart, Okay, so the x-axis is created if the data type is numeric. Add labels for x num, Control C, Control F, add label for x num. Okay, I'm receiving the data table with input, and after that I'm creating this, and I'm just dt rows plus z if it's my MIG at 1000, and after that I'm converting it and try to add this. So let's see, going back here, continue date created, count. Let's redraw the chart again, count of distinct, date created. We are changing the chart, single chart. Okay, numeric, add labels for numeric, Control C. It seems it's not reaching this branch of code, so that column might be string. So let's go here, date hierarchy, it's already here, so let's go back here, date created, date hierarchy. Okay, it was recognized as numeric. Step into, okay, if for the row interval, we have the interval, okay, interval 11, okay, max interval 1 pixel, okay. Let's go back, current width and interval, it's smaller than 1000, okay. Draw text and convert plus z, increment, and our first row, the value for first row is 2011, and after that we have this one. Okay, plus z lock increment is 2.2, and z it's 0, 2.2. That's why we have that that value. Okay, and top makings for line chart. Okay, so we go here, we go here, we go here, and we have 2011, and after that z will be 1, increment 2002, increment 2000. So we'll still have 2011, but plus z or increment, because increment is like this, and because we have a date time, and I should I should just change the code to display, because this is a year. This is a year. Is not to get rid of everything that is after the decimal point. So maybe we can choose something like this. Because if it's a date hierarchy, I will know 100% sure that my first column will be called year. So I will choose like this. If input table column 0, so input table column. So here I'm using the data tables, and I don't create classes or POC, or they are called, because data table is a class in .NET. So I'm using it. So other people are converting these result sets to objects of a specific class, but for my point and how the application was built was to take advantage of everything that is already part of .NET, and for a person to know as little as possibly know about programming, because yeah. So column 0, if I will choose column name column name equal year, then, and I will just put here else Control J, Control X actually, Control V, and here to string dot split decimal point 0, and the first part of whatever we have there. So we'll take this part of code, Control C, and we will copy it, add labels for xnum in the chart control also, Control F, add labels for xnum, add label for xnum, and here Control V. We'll save it. we'll start execution again, and it will do a test, and we'll try to display again the repository result set with the date hierarchically for year, and we'll look to see if our labels for x axis are displayed properly and not with decimal points and so on. As you could see, there are plenty of things to take in consideration, and a lot of branches that can happen whenever you are trying to display something, or whenever you are doing the slightest modification in the user interface. Sometimes I'm covering all the things, but since I did it alone, and there are a lot of things to take in consideration, sometimes I'm just missing things. So let's go back to the application, cancel this repository, retrieve input string was not in correct format. Okay, this is I will not explain it why it is here, but sometimes the results that we retrieve from SQL Server contains null, and if you try to chart them or to filter them with that's why Power BI uses blank for these cells. So I try to do the same and to change some data, some columns, data type and so on, in order to have less errors in in the moment you are trying to chart the data using the charting capabilities. But anyway, let's go back to the chart. Let's go back to the chart, and here we'll select the chart option. We'll use charting. We'll use server name as server name count. Okay, continue server name, and we want to be grouped by daytime. Will be grouped by daytime they created. And we want it to add date hierarchy. Okay, now we see that we don't have those decimal points added, and 2017 105. I'll do here. This is 2017 is here, but the label 2020, I would say 2015 20 is a little bit, the labels should be displayed a little 2019 we have those 470, so yeah, it's somehow accurate. If we want, let's make let's see, we'll use Power BI. Let's open Power BI. Let's go here. Let's select Control C. It will work slowly because Power BI needs resources also. So, but I just want to show how Power BI displays the same information for the same chart type. Okay. Get data. We'll take from the database. We'll take from the SQL Server database, connect. Okay, sorry for the noise. Okay, DIMS yay rep advanced SQL statement. Okay, load. Okay, it's loading. Apply changes. Okay, connection in model. Okay, we'll use a line chart here. I already selected it. Okay, we'll expand, and we said that we'll use for server name as values, axis legend values for server name values here, server name, and we have count of server name, and for axis we'll use date created. For axis we'll use date created, and it displays it like this 2020. So 2020 we have 200, and 2019, 2007, 2016, 2015, 2012, 2022, 2020 chart, 2020, 2019, 2019, 2018, 2011, 2016 is here, 2016, and this is 2017, 2018, 263, 2018, 2063, 2018 will be here, and should so the labels for the years are a little bit not I don't know how Power BI does it to match it perfectly here. 2015, 2016, 2022, 2029, it's 265. Show the data, show us table, 2019 is 475, 2019. Okay, and here I have 2019. This is the 2019, and if I is not perfectly, and 2018 should be here in the middle, and 2018 is 263. If I'm going vertically, it's not properly displayed 1 pixel in values, because as you can see, I'm using this 2011 to 2018 numeric data to make the axis. What I should use here is actually to use as a datetime, because if we are going back here to date created, so this the x-axis will be daytime, for 1 a.m. 2018, 2021. It's more appropriately. So what I need to do to fix the code is, when I'm choosing date hierarchy, I need to go to the input table and to have date time. Let's see if we can fix this quickly. Date time. The daytime, that the table that is coming, it's already yearly based. So I need to have hierarchy. But when it comes to the column, is not. So let's go back add labels for here, first row. Let's see here what input table we have. So choose here, they created. We already know that date created here is in date time, okay, but let's choose date hierarchy, and here already becomes like like this. So we did the modification. I need to know the table behind this. It requires a lot of work. I cannot modify it, but before creating that, Control F here. Here I have here continue. So we have this result set. So we have the data. We can choose that one, daytime. So let's do, because here we have, so here we can choose add labels for no single chart. Okay, stop. And if daytime contains daytime, and for here we will see, here we will say if not if again, Control Z, if canvases can index result sets tables fill string filter char dictionary filter char dictionary string integers. No, current, what is the name of that? current, field chart current previously, field chart current previously, field chart current previously, Control C. Okay, previously. Okay, okay. We have here current set tables dot columns, and we need to retrieve the column that we use date hierarchy is first group by is group by the variable name, group by column, string group by column 0, by column name 0. Let's hope that this retrieve the column name dot data type to string contains datetime. Okay, Control C, Control V, data time. Oh, yeah. Or we want to add labels for date time. We want to add labels for date time. Want to add labels for date time, so we'll go back here, but we'll copy this one also. We'll copy, Control C, add labels for daytime, add labels for daytime, labels for daytime, add labels for X daytime, and the data table that we give to the chart. So we go back here, will be differently depending on the, okay, if Control V, else Control X, Control V, and here Control V, but as an input data table we want to give this one, as you could probably figure it out. If we have filtering in place, Control C, you need to take that in consideration also, but I just want to display how it might be fixed in order to display those as dates, not as numeric. So I will give this table, and let's see now. Save, and let's load the application again. We should have daytime. It will, the column for this should be daytime, but I need I don't need to give this table. I need to, because it will search for first column. Come on, data type, the column 0 data type. So stop. I need to select default view to table, to default view to table to table, and here we'll choose false, so all the rows we want to be returned, and as a column name, string, and here we'll put this one because we said that this might contains our datetime column. Okay, so Control S, let's search here, let's search now, start. I will stop, no, I will not stop Power BI. And let's see. As you can see, my speed of developing this application is also it's depending on the speed of my Azure VM, but this is it. Sometimes it's working fast, sometimes it's not working as fast, but as you can see, what we are trying to achieve, it's somehow when we put vertically the line, it should properly be to show that indeed is for that year 2019 and so on. So I hope when we put the daytime as the axis as daytime, it will work as intended because the distance from origin will be properly calculated, and it will match what we see with the okay. I believe I will just stop this to have more memory for the application, and if it's working save, I want to save to have this one also. Okay, repository result set, repository result set. Okay. Okay, it seems it's working very slow. Stop it again. Stop it. Let me build it again to start. Okay. Okay, cancel repository, server repository. Okay, I'm going back to result set here and chart server name values. Not we don't want the selecting, so this is also like aggregation, but using it from here. You can do aggregations also here, and you can do also pivoting here if you want, but maybe I will show this in a different video. Let's go back to charting. Okay, I want server name, have count. Okay, and let's go back to date created. We have it like this. It's strange it didn't put, yeah, we have the year 2013, 2015, 2017, and let's see if we'll choose date hierarchy now, because I don't have that. It will be from here. Let's see, continue. Okay, 480 year it will display. Okay, let's date created. Okay, I'm curious if this contains something. Okay, I have charting count to DIMS server repository, and group by column count 1 date created. So it works. Okay, let's see. It goes to this group by column chart type. Result sets. Okay, and step into, yes, step into daytime, because the table that we returned returns also this column and daytime, but I didn't order it. I didn't, but it should be in already ordered 2011, 2013, 2000. Okay, it should be already ordered. Okay, so let's go back here. Chart type overlapping, if different, okay, if seconds, okay, interval, okay, for continue. 2013, 2020, 2020, 2011. I have want to see it again. Okay, the data table. So I'm going to step into it. Yes. Data table close. Okay. 2020. Continue. 2020, and here will be 2022. Anyway, let me change to date hierarchy. This already give me some error at the hierarchy because results set tables filter charting value server repository. Okay, group by column, date created. What is the error? What did object reference not set one instance of an object? What objects? Because already have I'm using to lower columns. I have the result set, I have the tables result sets, I have the tables namespace tables, I have count. This is the table here, I have it. Group by column. To lower contains datetime. Zero. I really don't understand why. It's date created. Is working when it's date created. Okay. If I choose date hierarchy, it reaches the same point canvas index of all results sets tables count 1, okay, count 2, and the charting it's 2, and we have our table, and selecting is 2. Then we have okay, columns group by column name, date created, we have it, and tag. I don't see any issue here. If I'm going step over, anyway, I need to allocate more time to see why this is happening, but I need to use the datetime column when I'm trying to use the date hierarchy, because otherwise the display will not be will not be accurate, or yes, or I can use that numeric thing in consideration. Okay, group date time hierarchy columns collection, because maybe it's searching. Yeah, it's already searching after after the year maybe. No, it's not. Okay, group quarter the hierarchy. Continue. But I'm pretty sure group by column, so let's see the hierarchy. and group by column. Now what it contains: still date created and columns.